busy moment in Dead Daisies history saw two studio album releases and a full tour, quickly followed by the Live and Louder album and another tour. For John Corabi, this manic schedule curtailed his involvement with the Dead Daisies. Fast forward to 2023, and he is back. With the band ready to release the compilation A Decade of Rock and tours of the US, Canada, Japan, and Europe to come, who better to explain the thinking behind this move than Mr. Corabi himself? John, welcome to Metal Talk, sir.
Thanks for having me, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. On the back of the Live and Louder album, Metal Talk described the Dead Daisies as a heads down, no nonsense rock band with amazing musicians and one of the finest frontmen in the world today. And then you had Burn It Down, which has the best Daisies album placing in the UK to date. You were on a roll, so it must have been a really tough call for you in 2019 to decide you had to leave.
It was just, some people think I'm crazy, but it was, I just had to step off the carousel for a minute, catch my breath. We were, the first year I was in the band, we did really like not, January to January, but like from the year, the first year I was in the band, we did 2 albums. A bunch of touring with Whitesnake, Kiss, just it was crazy schedule. And I just for personal reasons, I had just gotten married like maybe 5 months before I joined the Daisies, and it was like, okay, I do great here. I'll see you in years. You know what I mean? So there was some personal things. Also, my son was in my other ear. He had moved out here prior to me joining the Daisies to play drums in my solo band. And, so he's in my other ear, and he's like, great, Dad, I moved to Nashville to be in your band. And now you join this Dead Daisies thing, and we don't ever play. So it was a combination of the schedules, and then personal things. I just said, man, I appreciate this, guys, but I got to step off the carousel for just a minute, catch my breath. And, just kind of, I still worked, but I kind of did it at my own pace. You know what I mean? I put my band together. We went to Australia. We did some shows in South America. I did a bunch of acoustic shows in America, and I was busy, but again, it was at my own pace. I remained friends with the guys. We talked through the whole time that they had Glenn in the band, and at one point, they were getting ready to do a tour with Glenn, and he was sick. I don't know if he had COVID or what his deal was, but he wasn't feeling well. And I went up to New York for a week with the guys, and I kind of helped them. Like I sang with them to help them prepare for their tour with Glenn, like just get their music together. So we always remained friends, and everything was good there. But it was maybe, I don't know, April or May. David came down. He called me, and he came down to Nashville, where I live. And he basically told me that Glenn was going back to do his Deep Purple thing. And Black Country Communion asked me if I was rested. And he said, we'd love to have you come back and keep this train moving. So I said, all right, all good. You know what I mean?
Cool. I mean, a lot of people outside the music industry, don't realize the pressures and stress a touring band of under, but you enjoyed the downtime. You played some shows with your son.
Yeah, I did that. And then obviously we had COVID, which kind of ruined it for everybody. But even then, in that time frame, I wrote a book called Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. It's doing very well. I took some classes to learn how to finally, at the ripe old age of 60 something,
Right.
I learned how to use Pro Tools
Cool.
to record myself, because that was the other thing. I was sitting telling my wife at one point, I go, man, I'm such an idiot. I wish I would have paid more attention to like the whole Pro Tools thing. And I said I could be sitting here just recording myself and, releasing music via the internet. And, it, it was funny. I think my phone heard me because I immediately got an ad for, on Instagram, learn how to use, so I took the class. I set myself up a little studio, and I did it all on Zoom, like Zoom calls, or
Cool.
whatever. And I took the classes, and I just kept moving forward. You know what I mean? So uh, I didn't miss a beat. Obviously everybody was shut down at that point, but I didn't miss a beat. I kept busy. I was doing things, and and then finally I got the call from David, and he said, Glenn's leaving. We'd love for you to come back. And I just said, okay, let's do it. So it
Cool.
was, everybody was rested. And the one thing David did say to me though, when I came back, was that, he goes, I've invested a lot of time and money into this band, and I want to move forward, but I want to have fun.
Right.
And he's like, I think we kind of got to a point where, we were losing sight of that. I know towards the end, it wasn't just me that was burnt. Everybody was burnt. You know, all the crew guys, the management, the band. And I just I left. They got Glenn. Marco went and did his thing. So David said, I want to do this. I want to tour. I want to keep making music, but I don't want to lose sight of the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anybody to get burnt out again, where they're like, I got to tap out of this thing. Then it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it was an interesting choice to add Glenn Hughes. I mean, I know it's not a competition, is it? Yeah. But it must have been nice to know that they required someone of the caliber of the voice of rock to replace you.
Well, and it's funny because I love Glenn dearly. I met Glenn. Uh, I met Glenn back in 1992 when I joined Motley. He came by one of the rehearsals, and I met him. And then he came to the studio when we were recording the Motley record. He actually sang on "Misunderstood" with me,
Cool.
the Motley album. So Glenn's been in and out of my life, since '92, and that's what I was telling everybody. I said, well, if you got to leave a band, man, it's how awesome is you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, the voice of rock,
Yeah.
Mr. Glenn Hughes. So that was pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice, nice. I mean, the first rehearsal back with Brian, David, Doug, and Michael Devin, how was that?
It was amazing. This is the thing about the Daisies. Not only, like on paper, everybody's a great player, great songwriters, but we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Doug. Doug and I grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I knew Doug when he was 17 years old, before he even moved to California.
Wow. Okay.
So Doug and I go way, way back. I've known Brian Tishy for 20 years. Michael Devin, oddly enough, I've known Michael since probably 1999, 2000.
Really?
We have a weird story, but it's funny. We're friends, but I met Michael through my ex-wife. After
Okay.
I got divorced, from my ex-wife, Michael wound up dating my ex-wife. So I met him one time over at her house, and I thought he was cool. We got along great, and he had just moved to California, and he was looking for, I don't know, a gig or whatever. So I told him we needed a bass and guitar tech with Rat.
Right.
and he came out and he teched for me and Robbie Crane, you know, and then he wound up being, you know, I introduced him to Brian, uh, and it so it's very inseparable. We all know we've known each other for God years.
And it's
So as soon as I walked into the room, you know, I walked in, I go, "Hey, you bastards." And everybody started laughing, and we just immediately started cutting up and just blowing the dust off some of these old songs. It was great.
wow. I mean, at least with Michael, yeah, you got something to talk about for the old times. It was just like, you know, when you're in the studio and you start playing, it's just like totally natural then, yeah.
Yeah, it was, you know, there was a bit of learning. You know, I had to memorize all these lyrics again, and uh, you know, and even some of the stuff for them, like, you know, Glenn came in and Glenn kind of handpicked 3 or 4 songs from my catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so there was a bunch of stuff that they hadn't even touched
Wow.
uh, since 2018 when I
Mm-hmm.
was with the band. So there was a bit of learning for everybody, and gone, oh wait, what did I play there? You know what I mean? But we figured it out. We did a week of rehearsals in May.
Okay.
We did another week in July, and everybody came in. It sounded killer. Vocals, everything sounds awesome, and I'm looking forward to the tour.
Cool. Have you've rehearsed some of the Glenn material as well? How did that
Yeah,
how
yep.
did that feel?
As much as I love Glenn, I want to punch him in the throat. He's just a freak of nature.
Right.
But you know, I did like I kind of got caught up in uh, trying to sing this stuff like Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I got to be honest with you, it wasn't working.
Right.
So I took the tracks home, their actual, uh, like I basically got the tracks from the albums, and I asked them for the tracks without the vocals.
Okay.
So they gave it to me. I sat here in my studio. I played around with it, um, and you know, I basically the integrity of the songs are there.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds awesome. But there's a couple little spots where Glenn just goes up into the ozone. Uh, and I'm like, nah, I didn't feel like dropping my testicles into a meat grinder. So I'm like, I'm going to do my own thing and make it John Corabi singing Glenn Hughes. And everybody seems pleased with it. It
Cool.
sounds awesome.
That's going to be exciting to hear. I mean, if the compilation, it's almost like a marker, isn't it? Yeah, it's drawing a line under the 10-year anniversary. Yeah, and now you're a key component in taking things forward. Yeah, so the plan now is to get gig ready, play some shows, and then start working on new material.
Yeah, like everybody's been asking us about the new material, but at this point, you know, the one thing I love about the Daisies is it's like we're in the moment. You know, right now, this moment is putting a kick-ass set together,
Yep.
promoting this record, and just getting out and having some fun, and just, you know, uh, uh, you know, getting that energy back that we
Mm-hmm.
used to have.
Yep.
Um, and I got to brush up on some of my stupid jokes and different things like this, and you know, so we're just focused on this. We have talked about, you know, when we do a record, but there hasn't been any definitive scheduling date, whatever, for that. But so it's going to happen, but we're just right now, we're just focused on today. You
Cool.
know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah,
So,
cool. I understand. Just going off track slightly. You mentioned your book, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, as well. I picked up a copy yesterday, so I started reading that. Yeah, so you're happy that's out there, and you're happy the way that's been received.
yeah, you know, it was funny. The gentleman that wrote it with me, Paul Miles, lovely Australian chap. Um, he kind of talked me into doing the book. We were just sitting around bullshitting at one of the gigs in Australia, with my band, and you know, they were asking me. Even the guys in my band, they were, you know, asking me about things that happened in Motley and the Scream, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was telling these stories, and Paul just sat there and he was laughing his ass off, and he goes, "Dude, you have to write a book." And to be honest with you, I didn't want to do it because I felt like if I do it, like it's kind of late in the game. Like everybody's done a book at this point.
Right.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Even I just recently saw like some Kiss crew guys from, you know, the 70s. The crew guys did a book.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, God, I felt like I was jumping on a bandwagon. But COVID hit, and then Paul called in. He goes, "Well, you got
Yeah.
time now."
Yeah. Yeah. No excuse.
He goes, he goes, honestly, dude, I think there's a lot of people that would be interested
Mm-hmm.
uh in what in your story. And the way he basically said that I've been like this person that comes out and does a bunch of press when there's a record out or we're getting ready to go do a tour. And then he goes, you completely disappear. You just go under a rock somewhere. And he goes, I think people would like to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
You're kind of like I hate to use the word enigma, but he goes, you're a bit of an enigma.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did it, and we went through the process. We wrote it, edited all this stuff. We got the deal. They printed it up and they put it out, and it's been. I haven't gotten any flack about the book at all. Like everybody so far, knock on wood, everybody loves the book. So I'm like, okay,
Cool.
you
Cool.
know, just one more thing in my holster. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's cool. That's cool. I'll try and get through it over the weekend. Yeah, then maybe when you got a quiet time, we'll get back together and chat about it. I also saw that you narrated the audio book as well. How was that, reading your own book to a microphone?
It was you know, this was all new to me, this book writing thing, but it was fun, man. The guys, you know, the guys at Rare Bird, we went into a studio. They own a recording studio as well for the audiobooks. And you know, they made it fun, and it was light. I went in, you know, probably 6-7 hours a day
Wow.
over the course of maybe a week, read the whole book, and they made it enjoyable, you know. So I had a great time with them. We did a lot of laughing, and you know, it was fun. So I'm excited. You know, I think the audio book, I don't know if it's out yet. I don't even know. Like I kind of did the book and I
Right.
put it down, and I went out and I started doing shows.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think it's out on Audible in the UK. I prefer to read it as a book. You know, back to Daisies. Yeah, Decade of Rock compilation is out on double CD and vinyl in 10 days' time. Again, John, it's not a competition, yeah, but a majority of the songs on the album are the ones that you're on.
yeah, but you know what I love about this idea, because they did, you know, they did kind of have this set when I went up and started rehearsing with the band the first time. So the manager said, hey, we're going to do this marker, this kind of 10-year thing. And I was like, all right, cool. And, but it was funny. I love the fact that they've got a few songs on there from John Stevens,
Mm-hmm.
from my time with the band and with Glenn. And if I may use my wife as an example, she's a rock fan, but she's not like, she likes everything.
Yep.
But she heard the record, and obviously she knows who I am, but she knew nothing about Glenn Hughes, and she knew nothing about John Stevens. And now after hearing the record, she's like, wow, these other two guys are great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think it's going to be cool because there may be some Glenn Hughes fans that don't know who John Corabi and John Stevens are, and and vice versa, all around the board. So I love the fact that this is going to open people's eyes to, for example, John Stevens.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people in America don't really know who he is. So this is it. It's a great idea. Here's what we've done in 10 years. There's more to come. And check out these, you know, these three singers that we've had. You know, whatever. And I think it's going to enlighten people as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. Like, you know, as I say, a marker for the band's 10 years. Yeah, it's really good. You know, it's a good subset of the songs. Yeah, but it's really cool that you're back in the driving seat. Yeah, pushing the band forward with your vocals. I mean, I know there'll be massive interest in the UK and Europe in seeing you back on stage with the guys again. And there's certainly going to be an argument amongst us at Metal Talkers who's covering you. You know, you're looking forward to getting back out on tour again, then? Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing, David, like I said, he could not stress enough was, you know, I think that he said, I realized like we were really burning hard during my first tenure with the band, you know. So he said, I want to go out, I want to have some fun. You know, obviously we want to work, we want to get out there, we want to play for people, we want to write, you know, get new music together, but not to the point of burnout, you know.
Yep.
So we're going to do it in a different manner now. We'll go out for maybe, you know, a month, come home to our families for,
Yep.
you know, a week, go back out again for a month, whatever, so that we're not killing ourselves. You know, but I'm looking forward to it, man. I cannot wait to come over to the UK
Cool.
and see a bunch of old friends again. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
No, that's good. I mean, it promises well. You know, if it keeps everyone happy, then you see this as a long-term commitment.
I'm I'm in for the long haul. So you know, obviously we're no, you know, none of us are spring chickens
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see how it plays out. But you know, again, I came back. I'm committed to the Daisies. I told David, I said I still want to do solo music, you know, but what I'm going to do is, you know, I'll write my music and then I'll offer the songs to the Daisies first, and the ones that they like we'll keep. The ones that they don't, I'll still record at my home studio and continue to put music out there and do solo shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm fully committed to the Daisies, #1, ready to go.
Excellent,
So
excellent. I think it's really exciting. I'm really thrilled for you. Any message for the fans?
can't wait to see you guys. And the one thing again that I cannot stress enough, the fun is back. Let it begin.
Awesome, awesome. That's brilliant. So wish you all the best. Can't wait to see you over here. Thank you for your time, John. Best of luck. And
No,
we hope you keep enjoying it. Yep.
Yep. It's all good.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Thank you so much.
Cheers.